Welcome everybody, I'm Mike Filsame.
And this is Andy Jenkins, and in this video, we're going to share with you the details of a brand new and exciting software application called WebinarJam Studio. Here's what you can expect from this video.
You'll find out what our grand opening is all about for WebinarJam Studio and what that means to you.
All of the features you need to create the most profitable webinars possible.
Just what WebinarJam Studio is and what we added to the original WebinarJam.
What bonuses you get during this limited time grand opening offer.
And finally, how to get started with the most powerful, feature-rich, and most affordable webinar platform on the market.
So first, the grand opening. Now during the next few days, and only until midnight of Tuesday, April 21st, we're going to allow you to save over $100 off of the normal low price of WebinarJam Studio.
And give you free access to new software to do your automated evergreen webinars.
A world-class training course on how to do profitable marketing.
Full case studies from the world's best webinar marketers.
And last but not least, access to a brand new e-commerce platform that you can use to run your entire business. And remember, this price discount and these special offers are for a limited time. Once the counter on this page hits zero, this offer goes away forever, and so does the bonus and price discounts. So let's jump right in.
Webinars are our thing. We've been conducting them and helping thousands of other people run webinars for years. Today, we are reinventing webinars again.
Now, before WebinarJam, the only popular solution for live webinars was a product called, well, I'm not even going to tell you what it's called, but it costs around $500 a month. And even at that price, the maximum number of viewers on a live webinar was limited with this service to 1,000.
But there really hasn't been any powerful alternatives, at least up until this point. And my goodness, the cost of that software is $6,000 per year. That's crazy. Like I said, we're talking about a cost of $499 a month.
Now, many agree that the outdated technology used by our competitors creates serious issues, especially when you need to make sales. So let's look at your typical old-fashioned webinar. It's not a pretty picture. It has flipbook quality slides, and by the way, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, and it had AM radio quality voice, DOS-level design landing pages, and an antique user interface. It used a complicated download required for every attendee. It had no video playback support and no community engagement.
And it had antiquated manual video encoding. That is, if you remembered to press the record button. Was it marketer friendly? Not really. I mean, it had no follow-up mechanisms or sequencing or anything you would come to expect from a modern-day solution for marketing.
WebinarJam changed all that. In just the last year, WebinarJam has surpassed incredible milestones. 17,237 WebinarJam users,
87,221 webinars actually given,
176,291 webinar replays,
and a mind-blowing 30,428,461 webinar registrations.
WebinarJam's growth and impact have been simply extraordinary. We're so proud that WebinarJam has hosted so many truly massive webinars. One recent WebinarJam-powered webinar hosted over 8,100 attendees, not just registrants. We're talking attendees.
And now, in 2015, we're taking the biggest leap since the release of the original WebinarJam. WebinarJam is reinventing webinars again.
WebinarJam has always used the most powerful live casting technology on the internet, Google Hangouts. You know, the same tech that presidents, celebrities, and international news organizations use to reach the world during live events. They use it because this technology has the muscle to reach an unlimited number of people.
I mean, listen, we're talking about simultaneously communicating with thousands, tens of thousands, even millions of people and doing it live in real time. Basically, it's whatever Google can handle, and we know they can handle the world pretty good right now.
But there's always just been that one problem with Google Hangouts. It didn't have any sort of marketing or sales technology, not on the front end or back end. The original WebinarJam changed all that.
It allows you to quickly and efficiently set up your webinar in minutes using one of our proven and tested landing page designs that are preloaded into the system for you.
WebinarJam gives you unlimited webinars with unlimited attendees. WebinarJam makes it easy to use all of this power. It even automatically goes into the Google Hangouts Hangouts dashboard and sets everything up for you.
It has almost a dozen high-converting modern landing page templates that convert as high as 70%. And these pages also allow you to pass your leads to your favorite autoresponder. I mean, talk about a great way to do list building.
Our customers love our email capabilities for not just reminders, but for segmentation of your audience. WebinarJam lets you target specific messages to those who did not show, to those who left early, to those who saw the offer but did not buy, right down to the buyers themselves. And exporting those filtered segmented leads is super easy.
And WebinarJam never forgets to record. Your webinar is always fully recorded for you without you doing anything and stored for you right on your YouTube channel just minutes after you're done with your webinar. So there's no downloading or rendering or uploading like the other services cause you to do. That is, if you remember to actually start recording.
Profiting with replays from WebinarJam is also easier, faster, and more timely. WebinarJam plays on any and every computer and smart device in the world, but also allows anyone to listen and watch without having to dial in or download any software.
And even if you, the host, temporarily lose your internet connection, you don't boot everybody from the room. Instead, your webinar stays live, and your viewers are not kicked out. You just log back in and pick up where you left off.
It really was and really is that easy. It trumps anything and everything else on the market. That's why over 17,000 people have already made the switch to WebinarJam, not to mention how truly affordable it is.
Now, WebinarJam has over 50 features, and you can find out more about them on this page. So just take some time and review them. We're pretty sure you're going to like what you're going to see. But what we are most excited about are 7 new features that turn the new WebinarJam Studio into your own personal desktop broadcasting solution. So let's take a look at how these patent-pending features put WebinarJam Studio into a category all its own.
The first feature is called the Studio Control Center. Everything you need to create and control every aspect of your webinar in one highly customizable interface. It's beautifully and logically designed, and it's fully drag and drop customizable.
It can be used solo in a separate browser tab, with a dual screen display, or on a separate PC or laptop. And it can be managed by a moderator on your team. It's also easy and intuitive enough to use by yourself when you're giving your own presentation.
You can control chats, questions, polls, surveys, offers, videos, and live alerts. Plus, it gives you total administrative control.
So let's use the Studio Control Center as a jumping point to our next feature. It's something we call Video Inject for hybrid webinars.
People ask, what's that? On a good webinar, you're going to demonstrate, teach, interact, and sell. WebinarJam Studio's core functions allow you to do that with your web camera, your presentation software, and screen sharing with your audience.
But there's never been a feature like Video Inject in any webinar software. It's like your own personal on-demand TV studio. Here's how it works. You can preload up to 10 videos, and when you're ready for any of those videos to play, just click on the video of your choice and your camera goes off. Your mic is muted, and it plays on demand with a timer to let you know how much time is left. And then when it's done, you go back to live, and no one knows that you just played a video unless you want to tell them.
Here's why so many people love this exclusive feature. You get to record the highest quality demonstrations with no ums and ahs. Your best sales offers and pitches are edited with no mistakes. They are also great for testimonials and social proof, as well as extended training sessions.
But still, a hybrid webinar will allow you to do a live intro and a live Q&A session. Then what you can do is play back a pre-recorded training session and then close. It really comes down to how do you want your webinars to work.
Next, we've got a really cool piece of awesome. Remember how in the old technology webinars, when you made an offer, it would be a non-interactive call to action? Basically, you put a link onto your slides and that was that.
With the first WebinarJam, we added a truly interactive call to action. We called it Active Offers. Multiple, fully controllable, clickable calls to action were available to you, and you could put a sexy image right next to it that inspired action. Well, with WebinarJam Studio, we're taking that up a notch.
We took a page from QVC and added 2 tools to increase both urgency and scarcity. The first one is an active countdown urgency timer to create time urgency with total control.
The second one is active units scarcity display. So this will show the number of units actually remaining in your offer. Again, you have total control. You can do this with automated functions from WebinarJam Studio or manual unit measurement.
You can add a WebinarJam code snippet to your thank you page for automatic units remaining updating.
And to manually update your units remaining, you can just monitor your shopping cart or your email client, and as you see sales come in, you can go ahead and update those units manually with a click of a mouse.
Imagine how much more engaged your prospects will be when they can see specifics and the incredible positive effect this will have on your sales conversions.
Now we're very excited about this next feature and can't wait to see what you guys do with it. It's called Feedback Flow. Now during your webinar presentations, you can display key questions from your attendees with a click of a button. And now you can have your attendees actually see the question. So John asks, do you take PayPal? Then you can answer it for everyone to see.
But that's not all. Because of this new feedback flow display technology, WebinarJam Studio also does social proof. With a click, promote any comment in your chat to the audience display. For instance, Andy and Mike, I've purchased all of your products, and this is the best offer yet.
Or you or your moderator can display any live alert text at any time, like the live event will be in Austin on Friday, June 10th, or replay will be available in your members area on Monday morning. Or Andy just said, the best way to succeed is to be prepared for small failures. But we're going to go even further than that.
Remember that little bit of code you put on your thank you pages? Now, when someone buys your offer, WebinarJam Studio knows. WebinarJam Studio tells you who just bought, and with the click of a button, you can display that buyer to your audience. That's how you earn credibility, with proof.
This is all part of this amazing new feature set of WebinarJam Studio. And this next feature, ironically, might create the most profit, but it's not about your webinar.
Earlier, we talked about some of the milestones that WebinarJam has achieved in such a short time. Here's one that really raised our eyebrows. 176,291 webinar replays with WebinarJam 1.0.
Now that milestone is important because money, and a lot of it, is being made during replays. So we asked ourselves, how can we give more control to WebinarJam Studio users? How can we make webinar replays more like a live webinar? Our beta testers were really excited about this.
It's called Replica Replay. Our goal with Replica Replay was to help you recreate the same excitement an attendee gets when they attended a live webinar.
With Replica Replay, a webinar replay can now incorporate the live chat community feedback flow exactly as it took place during the live webinar.
Replica Replay can include your direct video injection, your feedback flow displays, questions, comments, buyer announcements, live alerts, and your active offers.
And it includes your community chat perfectly synced up with your presentation right down to the millisecond. All in an exact replica of your live webinar presentation environment hosted on a page for you for free by WebinarJam Studio. It'll look just like the webinar did when it was live.
And that leads us to our last but best feature of WebinarJam Studio. It's something we call Attendee Spotlight, and it's just great.
Now check this out. You can invite any of your webinar attendees to instantly become a guest, a host, or presenter in your webinar at any time. So ask your buyers to tell you why they purchased your offer. Then they can use their microphone, share their screen, and even activate their webcam and appear live to all of the attendees so they can tell their story.
Or ask your great customers to share their experiences with your other products. Let them tell everyone why you're the right person to trust.
See a friend or a celebrity or a known personality that's in your industry on your webinar? Invite them in for a few words to add to the encouragement and boost your credibility.
This is absolutely amazing for Q&A, coaching, hands-on training, guest appearances or demonstrations, hot seats, testimonials, and live social proof.
And you can do this on the fly too. They don't need a special link. You don't need to know in advance who you're going to pick, and you don't need to configure any special settings. You just do it and it just works.
Isn't that incredible? Can you imagine the possibilities? Interview your prospects, answer specific and personal objections, create authority and earn trust, and let the power of Attendee Spotlight help you let others close more sales. That's WebinarJam Studio.
It is the biggest leap in webinar technology yet. So big that it's a crime to just call them webinars. We based many of our awesome ideas now in WebinarJam Studio on the same $50,000 technology that's in our actual broadcast video studio. One that's designed to deliver network broadcast features to you.
We never lost sight of the goal. Give you amazing tools that are dead simple to use so you can create the highest, most profitable results on every webinar you do. WebinarJam Studio is now your very own personal broadcast studio.
I'm sure you can tell we're pretty excited to be sharing what we consider to be the world's most powerful and reliable webinar platform with you. And here's some of the best news.
Keep in mind that GoToWebinar costs $6,000 per year. We're confident that the value and power of WebinarJam is worth at least that. But we realize lots of people would have found that very high price to be out of their range. So for a limited time, we've decided to do something special to help as many people as possible.
We're going to give you an opportunity to get WebinarJam Studio, the full version, with a retail value of just $397 per year, but for only $297 per year for a very short time. Remember, that price is per year, not per month like some of the competition. And yes, that includes new studio features that we add and any updates that we add during that year.
After the grand opening of WebinarJam Studio, the price will go up by $100 to its final price of $397 per year. So today, you can save $100 per year for as long as you are an owner and lock in the lowest price ever.
But saving $100 a year is not all you get during the celebration of our grand opening of WebinarJam Studio. We have 4 incredible bonuses for you.
Introducing the next generation of automated webinars. It's called EverWebinar, and this technology will enable you to deploy 100% automated webinar campaigns in your business.
Now, during a typical live webinar, you register your attendee to appear at a certain time, and at that time, you give your presentation live. With EverWebinar, total automation is now at your disposal. Now you can give your registrants a choice. Give them 3 or 4 different days and multiple different times to choose from, making attendance their choice, and that massively increases registration rates.
Now, your webinar starts at whatever time you make available, and it runs just like a WebinarJam webinar in a WebinarJam webinar room. And even if the attendee hits the browser refresh button, the webinar doesn't start over. It just keeps playing, just like a WebinarJam live webinar would.
Now you can create fully automatic webinar campaigns, from registration to replay actions. Once you set it up, it runs by itself for as often as you want. And this isn't an upgrade, folks. This is a full standalone online software application, and it is fully featured.
And it integrates tightly with WebinarJam, so you'll literally be just a few clicks away from turning a live webinar into an EverWebinar.
Now, when EverWebinar is released to the public, it will be available at a very low $297 per year price.
But during this WebinarJam Studio Grand Opening, you'll have a full 6-month access account to try it out for yourself.
And the good news is EverWebinar will be available in just a few months.
Next, you can be an expert on your very first webinar, or take your current webinars to a whole new level, because we're going to give you our hands-down best webinar training course, Webinar Genesis.
Webinar Genesis contains the sum total of our best webinar performance strategies based on literally hundreds of successful webinars, and it breaks them down into the 5 absolute laws of a no-fail successful webinar. You'll learn the law of maximum registration and get more registrants than you ever have before.
Then you will learn the law of maximum attendance. You'll get the largest show rate you've ever seen.
You'll learn the law of maximum stick strategies, where you'll keep more attendees present until it's time for you to make your offer.
You'll learn the law of maximum offer conversion. Yeah, you probably know what that means.
And you'll learn the law of the maximum replay profit strategy and increase your total webinar sales by 50 to 70%.
This training was created with WebinarJam users in mind, so it's a perfect way to tweak your WebinarJam Studio webinars to their most profitable performance.
Now, you might have already experienced the light version of our 5 laws training during our celebration week. Yeah, that was a solid 90 minutes worth of training. Well, Webinar Genesis This is over 7 hours of advanced training, including copy and paste formulas, full blueprints for webinar presentations and offers, email copy examples for replay strategies, all so you can get the absolute most profit from your webinar campaigns.
Now, Webinar Genesis was going to launch this summer for $497, but we thought, what better thing to do than to give it to you for free during the grand opening?
So that's a full year of WebinarJam Studio, a full 6 months use of EverWebinar, and the complete Webinar Genesis training course.
But we've saved quite possibly the best for last. We've spent the last 24 months and over 8 figures of transactions perfecting what we're about to show you. And here's what happened.
We ran out of duct tape. What we mean is we got sick and tired of trying to wire all of our money-making systems and technologies together and try to make them integrate with our shopping cart. Now, talking to everyone we know, it seems we all have that pain and that problem in common.
Are you sick of trying to get your landing pages to talk to your tracking systems?
Are you sick of trying to get your help desk to talk to your lead scoring systems?
Or how about trying to calculate ROI from 5 different analytics because they all track differently when your shopping cart should be doing this for you?
Or are you sick of trying to get your brand new customers into a membership site?
Are you sick of outdated video player technology that has to be wired into everything?
But how about this? Are you sick of paying a programmer or a full-on consulting firm just to get your shopping cart to work the way it is supposed to?
Look, we understand that marketing is complex, but it doesn't need to be complicated.
And every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything.
Today, we are announcing the reinventing of the shopping cart the same way WebinarJam Studio reinvented the webinar.
In fact, maybe even more.
It's called Kartra. Here are just some of its powerful features.
It's a fully integrated e-commerce processing, publishing, and relationship management tool. It will let you capture your leads, follow up with intelligent, rules-based email, stream your video, service your customers, publish your content, and above all, sell. Sell with the kind of integrated analytical statistics and feedback that no one has had in one place ever.
Here are just some of the highlights. Kartra Pages to give you pre-made templates for your opt-in pages, video sales letters, upsells, product launch pages, surveys, all with a live editor for customization.
You'll have a full customer relationship management service to help you do your email marketing, your autoresponders, your broadcast emails, and hey, email split testing.
Plus, it extends CRM with SMS text, voice broadcasts, and posting to your social media for you.
And it has a tremendously powerful shopping cart for you to sell your digital products, your software, membership sites and continuity programs, coaching, anything that needs transaction technology in order to create a sale. Kartra will do it.
You get to sell unlimited products at multiple price points. And yes, it takes care of VAT and sales tax calculations.
And you can process with your own merchant account or Stripe or PayPal. Plus, Kartra processing, which is built in, can get you started immediately. And oh, by the way, with Kartra processing, we can actually pay your affiliates for you automatically.
It has the most powerful affiliate program and tracking to handle all types of affiliate programs.
It has end-to-end business intelligence, built-in analytics tracking, lead scoring, link tracking, ROI, EPC, and customer value metrics.
It has connected content management, which is role-driven membership site creation to allow you to deliver your videos, downloadable documents, your written content, and it can drip your content over time. And it also allows you to advertise your product catalog to your best customers on the side of the content that you're fulfilling.
And by connecting all of these key systems together, Kartra opens up a world of possibilities. So with its integrated video player, you'll have visibility into viewer retention, viewer optimization. Plus, you can create action-based or time-based events like call to action buttons at a certain time or at a certain action, email opt-in forms, image display triggers, visitor redirects, all with Kartra video player technology.
And of course, a fully featured support and help desk that you can deploy instantly. Kartra is everything we wanted for our business. That's why we put into it every tool we need to market, sell, and deliver everything we make.
But you've probably heard that before, right? All in one stop shop.
So have we, and we don't blame you for being a little bit skeptical.
But just think about it. What if it really was everything we said it is? How would that change the way your business runs? How much could you earn with just a handful of these features that we mentioned? If all of those features talked to one another and gave you the most detailed information, how much could you save when you don't need a shed full of other tools?
We're going to make it easy for you to decide. We're going to make it easy for you to put Kartra to your own test and easy for you to prove us wrong or prove us right.
And during the WebinarJam Studio Grand Opening, we're going to give you a full 90 days access to Kartra when it's released later this summer. We're also going to be sending you regular updates on Kartra's progress. And also, we want you to know that after your 90-day trial, we're not going to try to slam you with an outrageous monthly price. If you decide to stay a Kartra customer, you can choose our Kartra Professional version for just $99 a month.
Let's break it all down for you. During the WebinarJam Studio Grand Opening, you'll receive a full year's worth of unlimited access to WebinarJam Studio, a $397 value.
Full access to the complete Webinar Genesis training program, a $497 value.
6 months full access to EverWebinar when it's released.
And 90 days full access to Kartra Professional when it's released.
So far, this is a total value of nearly $1,300. But you're not going to pay anywhere even near that during this special event.
Plus, we're also going to include the full-length Celebration Week interviews we did with our celebrity entrepreneurs and our awesome WebinarJam customers. As you've already seen, these people can give you sensational information, tips, and strategies from registration to replay, all from real-world campaigns that are actually working right now.
If you purchase WebinarJam Studio, EverWebinar, Webinar Genesis, Kartra, and the Success Interviews separately, you'd expect to pay well over $2,000.
But for a very short time, you can have it all for just $297.
And during this grand opening, you'll be locking in your WebinarJam Studio rate to $297 for as long as you own it. That's important because the moment this grand opening expires, all of the bonuses go away and the price for WebinarJam Studio goes up to $397 per year.
So make sure you take advantage of this fantastic offer. You can just click the Get Started button to lock in your grand opening bonuses and price today. And of course, you have a full 30 days to try out WebinarJam Studio with no strings attached. If it turns out it's not for you, contact support from right inside your WebinarJam Studio dashboard and let them know that you want a full refund.
Now, we're serious. This grand opening will end in the next few days. And once it's done, these bonuses and killer discounts are gone.
So click the Get Started button right now, and you can be using WebinarJam Studio and all of its patent pending and celebrated marketing features in just a few minutes.